Beginning of my video. Boom!
Welcome back to Boring Reviews.
Boring land.
Oh, just kidding.
Blasphemer!
Hello,
right.
Boring Review Nation!
Kind of pointless.
We know all things. It was over in a snap.
We really want it. Alright, we'll be nice.
Only you can be a Patreon.
Look out.
You don't need to follow the show to be hyped.
All right, welcome back to Boring Reviews. Nick here, and I am super excited to bring you this review. I'm a little nervous because I want to make sure I do it justice, and I'm talking about the series called The Test, a new era for Australia's team. So this is a show about cricket, and first of all, I am a liar. Big fat liar. On my poll, we did a survey. A sir won the survey as the next series we're going to review after Sacred Games. And as you know, during this whole lockdown stuff, I have a little bit more time to watch some shows and movies and whatnot. And I was planning on watching a sir, and I tried to find Voot. It's not on Amazon. It's not available through Roku. Online, it says go to the website. You can watch shows for free. I went there, and there was some kind of glitch. It wouldn't get off some kind of picture or something. So I tried. I looked on YouTube to see if it was selling the episodes. It was not. Went on Apple. It's nowhere but Voot, and I don't know how to access Voot where I'm from. So maybe if you know how, I can get it here in the States. Then let me know, and then I will be more than happy to watch that show. So I'm a liar. I went ahead and watched The Test. That was number 3 vote getter because a sir wasn't available. I was frustrated. I want to learn more about cricket. As you know, we at Boring Reviews have started a new channel called Cricket for Americans, where we're going to continue our search for understanding cricket a little better. And that channel, again, it's a companion channel. It's a few videos a week, and we hope that you go over there and you check out those few extra videos. And here at Boring Reviews, we're going to be doing our thing of TV shows and movies, Cricket Tuesdays, all that kind of beautiful stuff, songs. So I'm a big fat liar. Excuse me for that, but I had to watch this show. I was super intrigued in checking it out, and I'm so glad I did. I loved every episode. I think I watched it in about 3 days, which doesn't maybe sound that fast in this binging world, but for me, who I still work from home as a teacher, 3 kids, wife, I'm trying to collect as much food as I can for my family from the store. It's, I got through it pretty quickly, and I'm pretty excited about that, not to mention running 2 channels as well. So let's get into the test. And again, I hope I do it justice. I hope if you loved it, that you are going to love this review. I hope I don't miss any important parts, but I know I'm going to. And if I do, please forgive me. So going right into the test. And for me, let me start off by saying, again, I don't know a lot about cricket. I've learned a whole lot more, especially the last few weeks. Something finally clicked inside my head. But for me, going in and not knowing a lot about, especially the history, how to play in Test matches, T20 matches, ODIs, all that kind of stuff, the Ashes, World Cup, all that kind of stuff, not knowing about those things, this was an even more enjoyable experience because I was able to learn so much. And I love to learn, especially when it comes to sports. If it's an enjoyable sport that I can connect with, sorry golf, not going to connect with you, I can connect with, then I love learning about it. And that's what this series did for me. It taught me so many things, so very many things it taught me. And so we go into this show. It starts off, I believe, in 2018. I got the page here. Yes. So South Africa, Cape Town is kind of what the scandal was called, because that's where they were at when they got discovered. March 24th, 2018, this big scandal happened. Before this, from my understanding of watching this show, now my understanding is from this show, it may have over-embellished some things, but it seemed like a pretty true documentary, and it was a documentary. In 2018, 2 of the best and biggest players for the team, Steve Smith and David Warner, and also Cameron Bancroft, they were seen with some tampering on the ball. There's some kind of object in their pocket or something like that. It said that they both knew that Bancroft was doing something illegal and allowed him to do so. Okay, so Bancroft was seen tampering the conditions of the ball using sandpaper. So that's what he had in his pocket. And they showed clear as day in the review. He had it in his pocket. He tried to put it in his pants to hide it. Got caught. He seemed quite apologetic afterwards. It didn't seem like someone. I've seen athletes get caught for some and just say, "I'm apologizing because I have to." I mean, he was crying. He seemed devastated that he made that decision. Who knows how long he's been doing it? In sports, there is cheating, unfortunately. There are scandals, unfortunately. Me and Gabe even mentioned in one of our early Cricket Tuesday videos, have there ever been any scandals in cricket? And here you go. It doesn't seem to happen too often, especially in cricket, but it does happen, and it's devastating. If it's your team, that's even more embarrassing and more devastating. So two of those players are two of their best players. One was their captain, Steve Smith, was the captain of their Test cricket team, I believe. And so they got banned for a year. They took it like men. They apologized, and they stepped away from the game. Steve Smith was also injured at one point, had a surgery or whatever. But this is a story about how Australian cricket, who has been a powerhouse through its history. I mean, from my understanding, I'm assuming this tells it true, Australia has been a dominant team from periods of time throughout history, as far as cricket history goes, international cricket. And they just got gutted. The coach, he resigned. The players, those star players, were gone, and they were trying to pick up what was left, the shambles of that. And so Australian cricket allowed this camera crew from Amazon to follow them for about 18 months and film just about everything. I mean, I felt bad at time for these players as they're trying to make a team or make a roster, make their debut. They got all these emotions and everything else, these ceremonies they go through to get their green baggie. I love that name, green baggie. Baggy green. They have all these different things that they're trying to do, and there's a camera shoved right in their face the entire time. These guys got awesome, access to team meetings, practices, conversations, phone calls, interviews, the works. And not just that, the place where this documentary shines, not just in the education, because for someone like me, it taught me a lot, and I feel like a lot of the people who've been asking for this review in the comments said they taught them a lot who have seen it too. But where this documentary shines is in its ability to give us that up-to-the-face access, and not just that, but to build a story. There was several different stories in every episode, one main story in each episode, but several different stories as it goes in that 18-month period. That's what the 8 episodes in the first season does. 18-month period. It follows this team, and it's about them doing that redemption from that horrible scandal and moving on. And each of those 8 episodes has its own story focused on some kind of match or series in cricket, and it does a great job of illustrating that story. I mean, every single episode has so much adversity for these players, for this team. And not every episode has a great happily ever after ending. Not every episode has this great redemption story where Rocky knocks out Apollo Creed in Rocky 2 and wins a championship. Not every episode has that. And as I was watching this, I'm not going to say there aren't any redemptive parts. There aren't any victories. I'm not going to say that. But as I'm watching, I'm wondering, okay, are they ever going to pick themselves off the floor? Are they ever going to get on the winning side? Are they ever going to have that, when I think this is going to be where they're leading to? Oh, they're leading to this type of victory. No, they lost that. Oh, they're leading to this kind of victory. No, they lost that. Oh, it's going to be this kind of victory. Well, not exactly the way you thought. And so this show did a great job of telling a story. Yes, it was a documentary. Yes, it was following this team, and it was real life. It wasn't even reality TV. It was real TV, or real life being shown on TV in this series. But it was real, and it had a great story to tell. So the filmmakers did a fantastic job with the editing. I'm sure they had just mounds and mounds and piles of content to edit down, and how we're going to tell our story. They did a great job, and I feel like they did a respectful job. Not just to cricket, not just to Australia, not just to the sport of cricket, but to the different teams that they play. I don't feel like there was any team that they just made out to be the villain. And so I thought that was really nice, and that was really classy. And from a sport like cricket, you would expect something like that. Classy, gentlemanly, all that kind of stuff. But there's so much to talk about. I'm not going to go over each individual episode because that would take forever. I'm not going to go over every single problem and solution in every episode. I want you to check it out and see it for yourself. This is going to be mostly non-spoiler. It is. It's going to be non-spoiler. But I want to talk about this show and why you've got to watch it. This is a show you've got to watch because if you're like me, you don't know a lot about cricket, but you want to learn, it's the best way to learn, in my opinion. If you know a whole lot of cricket and you want to watch a sports historical documentary, check this out. If you hate the Australian team, the Aussie team, check this out, because more than likely the team that you're a fan of, one of the bigger powerhouses, you're going to get some really good episodes in here where your team is spotlighting, and not just that, but kicking Australia's butt. They go through a whole lot of adversity in this. And if you don't know anything about cricket and you don't even care, check out a few episodes, because this is not just a cricket show. This is a sports show. I used to love ordering on VHS. I'm going to date myself here. I used to love ordering the Baseball World Series highlight videos on VHS. About 15 years ago, you can get them online super cheap, $2 or $3. I would order those. I would get like 10 of them for Christmas presents for $20, and I would love going through them. I think I still have them somewhere, even though I don't have a player that works. I love getting DVDs on my teams that I have, like the Lakers and the Chargers and whatnot, watching their history. It's great to get sports history, but this is done so well. I will say, for anyone that has kids around, there are quite a few F-bombs. There's not a lot, but there's periods where someone will go on a rant and they'll drop like 8 or 9 in a row, and then you won't hear one for the rest of the episode. Other than that, this is a very clean show. There's no nudity or sex or anything like that. This is a very clean show besides those F-bombs. If those don't bother you, if your kids hear those all the time, then they can be in the room checking out with you. But this is such an inspiring, invigorating show. I love the coach, Justin Langer, JL. I'm not sure what the big cricket fans' opinion is of this guy, but this guy was great. He went into an impossible situation, but he also got his dream job being the coach of Australia. He was a player. It seemed like for a long time, I don't think he was a star player, but he was a big-time player at one point in his career. And so it was his dream to coach this team. Not this way, but his dream. And the way he went about it, the way where everything was falling off the rails the first several months, and it seemed like, I got to run away. The way he stuck with it and the decisions he made. Obviously, the captain on the team is probably the most important when it comes to the gameplay. But that coach, I was able to see how a coach is instrumental. He did some amazing things. He made some amazing decisions, made some tough decisions to sit this guy and start this guy. He did a great job. And it was fun to watch him when he's watching the games and he's literally biting his nails, or he's kicking a trash can, or he's punching the wall, because he's just so into it. He's such a big fan, and he's so invested in his team. And as a sports fan, I love seeing a coach or a manager that's not just there for the paycheck, but there for the team and for the wins. There's one point where he gets so mad that he kicks a trash can, and it goes down like 3 or 4 stairs, and then it stops. And instantly, he realizes that he made a mess. And even though he's frustrated, picks up the trash can and picks up like the 30 pieces of garbage that fell out, no joke, right then. I mean, he seems like such a classy guy. Seems like a family man. He was one of my favorite characters in this show, even though he's a real person. Had a hard time not really liking Tim Payne, the captain of the Test cricket team, because he seemed like such a nice guy. He seemed like such a good guy. And there's this part in episode 3 or 4 or 5 where Australia is playing against India, and there's Virat Kohli, the captain of India. You guys know who he is. Come on. And there's going to be an argument made that they made him to be a villain. I didn't see it that way. I saw them show someone who was a serious competitor. But there's a part where they have an exchange, and I love the way Tim Payne reacts to that, and he handles it. And I didn't think it was like big and boisterous, but I thought it was a perfect, classy way to handle it. And again, I don't think Virat Kohli is a villain at all. If nothing else, they just talk many, many times about how he is the best in the world. The best in the world. And, I mean, honestly, one of our commenters, I think it was Arjit on our channel, said he's Muhammad Ali of cricket. Perfect comparison, because he was awesome. He was absolutely awesome. If you're a fan of India cricket, you're going to get several episodes that you're going to love. If you're a fan of Pakistan cricket, you're going to get at least one episode that you're going to love. If you're a fan of England cricket, you're going to get a few episodes that you love and maybe one that you don't like so much. If you're a fan, I mean, they even mention, I think they show for a second, Emirates, maybe Bangladesh. I mean, they go all over and they focus on different teams. And again, this show, it builds up for this huge victory like you would expect. Oh, they're going to win the championship. And then it may not happen that way every single time. And that was just like gut-wrenching, heartbreaking. As being part of Boring Reviews, and we do a whole lot of Indian content, and I've made a lot of true friendships and connections with the audience on YouTube. No lie. I can't help but root for Indian cricket. I mean, I feel like that's like a home away from home for me. And so as I'm watching this, I'm learning so much about the Australian team. It's hard not to care about the Aussies a little bit. And I personally, I don't get too political. I don't hate anyone. I really don't. There may be some countries that I'm not the biggest fans of because of, past relationships with my country, but I don't get too much into political. I really don't. Individuals is what I care about. And so Australia, I always had a good opinion of it. This helped me fall in love even more with that Australian team and be on their side and ride with them. I would still say I'm an Indian fan, Indian cricket, but I also now am an Australian cricket fan because you get to know these players. You get to know them on a deeper level. Nathan Lyon, one of their top bowlers, they kept mentioning their top bowler. I mean, he seemed like such a real guy, such a genuine guy, and he had some genuine moments and, some moments where he had mistakes and victories, and it was cool to see that. Some of my other players that they have on there, I couldn't help but like Steve Smith. I mean, I'm sorry. I know he was at Scandal. Most of you probably can't stand him because of it, or you can't stand him because he's a little cocky before that scandal, and that scandal happened, and he comes back and he's still dominant. I'm sure he's broken your heart many times. You can't stand him. I can't help but like the guy. He looks like such a regular person. He really does. He doesn't look like a superstar athlete. But I love how he just carries his bat everywhere. They say he almost like he sleeps with it. He practices at home. He makes his wife throw him practice balls so he can get his swing in all the time. I mean, it's like he's carrying around like a teddy bear wherever he goes. I thought that was awesome and very endearing. And when he comes back after the scandal, and they show that when he comes back and David Warner comes back, when he comes back, for me, I've gotten to know these characters for 5 or 6 episodes, and then he comes back and there's some players making their debuts and new players that are trying to get into the team. I didn't want him on the team because I had already connected with the other players, but I liked him a lot to start off. David Warner was a tougher character for me to get into, but he seems like kind of a different personality. I really liked the Marnus Labuschagne character. I thought he was super awesome and super young. And the really cool thing about this show is they do a great job of focusing on each player for at least 5 minutes, if not 30 minutes or 40 minutes in each episode. They'll take 2 or 3. They'll give you a little bit of background information. They show you what their skills are on the cricket field. And that was really cool. They didn't just focus on 3 or 4, which is really tempting to do. They spread it out. And they give you a lot of information on a lot of people. I love learning about Cummings. I love learning about Marnus, like I said. Aaron Finch, that he was really interesting. He seemed like a really down-to-earth guy. I loved learning about, I'm trying to find the name right here. There's someone else that was Uzman, he was awesome to learn about. He seemed like someone that was upset because he wasn't on the squad for the first few episodes. And then they wanted to lose some weight, so he did. He was able to get in the squad, and he was like their best player for several times before Steve Smith got there, so he was really cool. But there was two guys, and I can't recognize their names on here. I'm looking at the thing here. But 2 guys who they said had the weirdest relationship. Whereas almost like they were in a relationship, which they weren't, but they were just very affectionate with each other. They kiss each other on the cheek, they'd hold hands, they'd hug. And they give you a lot of those inside tidbits that I thought was awesome. There was one guy, Mitchell Marsh, I think it was him, where he was just like rocking out on a rain delay. So many moments like that was so awesome in this show, and it totally made it way worthwhile to watch. The cricket was fantastic, the tension being built up, and the emotion. I mean, I was tearing up several times in this series, probably 5 or 6 times where I was like fist bump or tearing up. And I even know these guys before I watched this show. It's not afraid to tell the truth. It's not afraid to show these people's imperfections. It's not afraid to show the coach just lose it because he's so sick and tired of losing over and over, and not afraid to show the players make fun of the coach at one part. One of the best jokes was a joke that Nathan Lyon gives at the end of one of the games. I'm not going to give away the joke where he's making fun of JL, Justin Langer. I thought that was hilarious. Did a great job there. The baggy green was probably my favorite part. If I had to choose a favorite part, the baggy green ceremony. They had 3 guys making their debuts, and they got the ceremony, and they got to choose a legend or a past player or a current player to a little ceremony where the family was there to present them with their baggy green, which is a hat, which at first, if my wife bought that hat for me, I'd say, no way, I'm not going to wear that. But when you put it on, it makes me think instantly like the 1800s, and it looks so awesome, and these guys automatically transform. I'm watching a period drama. And so now I want one of those so I can see why it means so much to these guys. For me, it was baseball growing up. The smell of the grass, fresh cut grass, the smell of the mitt, the ball, the sounds of the bat hitting the ball in baseball. Growing up, that was summer. That was sports for me growing up. And then baseball or football and hockey and basketball came later, but baseball was my first love. And to hear these guys like JL and several other players talking about that way with cricket, where summer was cricket for them, the cut grass, the sound of the bat was cricket for them. They said, I guess kids play a lot of time on the beach, and it was awesome to make that connection. And I always mention baseball and cricket because I feel like they are distant relatives more than any other sport here in America. But that's a big similarity is for a fan, is where you have those touches and those feels and those senses that you get with that sport and with that love. This was just a great show, and there were some moments that were heartbreaking. India, I mean, they were a powerhouse. They were a powerhouse shown in this show, I think, in the 2019 season. I mean, unbelievable. Or maybe it was the end of the 2018 season. But, man, if you are a fan of Indian cricket, you've got to watch this show because your team is represented very well. Talking about India, there's a part where Australia goes to India for one of their series or one of their matches, and there's all these fans just, like, layered and caked out in the street. And they were just so excited to meet some cricket players and to see them and get a picture of them and a selfie. And, I mean, India represents when it comes to cricket, and that was awesome to see. But those are my thoughts about the show. I absolutely love this show. If you haven't got that idea yet, I love this show. I'm so glad I watched it. I'm so glad it was the next show after Sacred Games. It's such a different show than Sacred Games is. And going back to the Baggy Green real quick, the emotions were so high. They did such a great job of presenting those emotions to me and making me feel that and making me feel how important that was for them. That's the last point I want to mention on that. As far as a grade goes for this show, I'm going to give it a solid A. It's almost an A+. Just there was a few things that were hard for me to connect with, but that's like my only complaint. That and just my heart was broken so many times, but it was real. So I'm giving it a solid A. This is a great show. I definitely recommend it, especially for all our cricket fans out there. If you haven't seen it yet and you have Amazon Prime, what are you doing? Check this out. Do yourself a favor and check it out. And then come back and comment and watch my video again and let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with, what your thoughts are, what were your favorite moments. There were so many great ones and so many great characters, and I thought it was awesome. There's some things I can talk about, like Archer, the bowler for England. It seemed like when he came in, and I don't want to get into any spoilers, but when he came in and a few things happened as far as injury goes, I was like, wow, is this guy someone that typically, he's an England bowler, typically hits people, not on purpose, but is this the way he throws it, his style, and it's so hard and so fast, and so I have no idea. But I mean, again, this show, it builds you up where you think they're going to redeem themselves, and then just the crap falls, the fan, I mean, all that stuff, the crap hits the fan, there we go. All this stuff happens you don't expect. But I love this show. I know I'm missing some stuff. I absolutely felt like this was a fantastic show to watch, and I felt like I learned so much about it. Test cricket, especially, they go in a lot in depth. If you're a Test cricket fan, check out this show. Obviously, it's called The Test. I mean, come on. But it's probably called that for several different reasons. Thanks so much for suggesting and recommending and voting on our poll and giving me the idea to check this out. I hope you enjoyed this review. As always, we have lots of different reviews, solo reviews, dual reviews, triple reviews, whatever you want to get. It's on the channel. And don't forget to check out Cricket for Americans, our other channel. We'll be dropping at least 3 videos a week. And so check out what's over there and see what you like. And go ahead and comment on that page too and subscribe. And until next time, adios.